Doom, the movie. Now, as everybody probably knows, I freaking love Doom. These games are awesome, especially the originals. But I also liked Doom 3 very much. And apparently so did filmmakers, so they came up with the idea of making a movie based more or less on Doom 3. But they didn't call it Doom 3, they just called it Doom. Fine enough. So, when I heard the Doom movie was made, I freaked out. I was like, that's awesome, man! There's no way they can fuck that up. Unfortunately, they did. Well, partially. I'll explain. Now, quoting from the IMDb profile. Here's the plot. Space Marines are sent to investigate strange events at a research facility on Mars, but find themselves at the mercy of genetically enhanced killing machines. I don't know if you have been following my Let's Plays, but if you know Doom, what is wrong with that statement? Yes, enhanced killing machines? Genetically? Since when did genetics play a part in Doom? You're fighting fucking demons for crying out loud. And yeah, that is the problem with the movie. There are no demons. But we'll talk about that later. So anyway, what is the cast is actually halfway alright in my opinion. The main character, John Grimm, is played by Carl Urban. This is a movie that made me like him, because I think he was one of the very few decent actors in this movie. Carl Urban, I always thought was, the guy that can save a movie, because I think he is a decent actor. I also saw him in Ghost Ship, where he was okay, and for everybody who wants to know, he also played Dr. McCoy, aka Bones, in the Star Trek 2009 reboot. But I'll not talk about that one because I freaking hate that movie. But anyway, in Doom, it's basically about that. The UAC, just like in the game, has set up their research facility on Mars. They find some old ancient civilization of some sort, just like in the game, and they find out they have all been killed, like in the game. But unlike in the game, it was not demons. Instead, they were mutants. Yeah, with some virus or whatever it is, and it basically either turns you into a monster, or it turns you into some, I don't know what the hell they're supposed to be, some superhuman, like with faster reflexes, more stamina. In other words, the average online player these days. Yeah, that's basically it. The rest is just people running around with sometimes working, sometimes not working flashlights, shooting at shit in the dark that you can barely see. I know this is sort of like in the game, but seriously, even in the game you saw way more than you do here. Some of the monsters we know make an appearance, like the imp, who is recognizable, but even they are changed a little bit. Flat out, what's wrong? They're not demons, they are called that sometimes, but they call them genetic demons or something like that. They knew they were supposed to be called demons, so why do they keep going on with this genetic bullshit? I don't get this part. Why did it have to be mutants? Why did it have to be genetics? Just because Resident Evil worked as a game to movie adaptation. That doesn't mean this is gonna work for Doom. And I know a lot of people didn't like Resident Evil, but tell you what, that one at least felt closer to what I know about Resident Evil than this movie did to Doom. Alright. Second main character is Sarge, played by the fucking Rock. Now, I know a lot of people hate him and say wrestlers can't act. I say, though he is a wannabe Arnold Schwarzenegger, he is still one of the most badass guys in this movie. You can tell that does not exactly say a lot of good things about the rest of the cast. But anyway, I thought he was okay. Could have been much worse. So, yeah, this movie is better than most video game adaptations made by Uwe Ball, that's for sure. because this movie at least tried to resemble what Doom was. The environment, like the sets and all that, looked pretty much like in Doom 3. So I gotta give him credit for that. It was more or less faithful to at least the setting. That was correct. It is on Mars. That's fine. Some of the weapons we know from the game make an appearance in one form or another. Like, yeah, the big fucking gun is here, the BFG 9000. Unfortunately, it is also completely different from what is in the game. So, if you never played Doom, you probably are gonna wonder why are people so freaking out about this movie. Because how they literally completely ignored key factors of the Doom storyline. There is no hell, there is no demons, there is no dimensional travel. Yeah, okay, they still somehow implemented this whole portal technology by being able from travel from Earth to Mars within seconds. That's cool, but still, that's no excuse. They clearly knew what they had, and they didn't care. I don't know why they didn't implement the demons. Why? Was it so hard to do? At first I thought it was budget, but fuck the budget. Even with the same budget they could have done it better. This movie had a reasonable budget, in my opinion. At least $60 million. Where were these $60 million? I tell you where they were. And that 5-minute first-person shooter sequence. Yes, this is the movie that had that. One of a few. I don't know any other anyway. 5 minutes, first person, shooting zombies and demons, just like in the game. That is the only thing that makes this movie redeemable, in my opinion. That part kicked ass. Still, it felt wrong because we clearly knew that whatever was being shot at was not what it used to be in the game. And a lot of the demons I was expecting to see were missing. I mean, let's think about this for a second. What is the most iconic monster in Doom history? At least in most people's opinion. Exactly, the fucking cyber demon. This huge Goliath of a monster that has a rocket launcher for an arm. They didn't put that in here. How can you make a Doom movie without having a climax with a fucking cyber demon? I don't know how they can screw that up. I sort of expected this. No cyber demon. A lot of the other monsters from Doom 3 were missing. I think... Okay, yeah. This is a spoiler, so bear with me on this. The only monsters you're gonna see in this movie are the zombies, the imps, one pinky, and I think 1 or 2 Hell Knights. That's it. And they don't throw fireballs either. That trademark ability of Hell Knights and imps, completely ignored. They just run around trying to claw people. There was even a Hell Knight wielding a chainsaw. I mean, what the hell was that all about? I admit it kind of did look weird, but also cool at the same time. But it felt out of place. A Hell Knight would never pick up a chainsaw. Ugh. So much wrong. Some cool things, some of the characters are actually named after the guys that programmed the game. Like there's a Dr. Carmack, for example, which I thought was pretty cool. So at one point, it's like, I don't know what went wrong here. On one hand, they had so many hidden Easter eggs in here that reference Doom, yet on the other hand, they completely ignored the core plotline. It's Marines versus Hell, and there's no Hell here. It's just a dumb mutant shooter, like Resident Evil was. Seriously, I expected more from Doom. At least try to get the plot right. Finally we get a video game adaptation that's not made by Overball, and they still fuck it up. Seriously. Anyway, moving on. Special effects, little they are okay. Like I said, the first-person shooter sequence is pretty damn good. The movie's soundtrack is pretty damn good, actually. That at least was met my expectations. Even though I heard that the guy who made the music supposedly stole a lot from others or something. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I just know that the soundtrack rocks. It's great. It's one of the few movie soundtracks I actually bought for myself. I usually don't do that. So there's that. And yeah. So anything else to say? Yeah. The acting. The acting is not good to say the least. No, it's horrendous. But you know what? This is Doom. I didn't expect much to begin with. It's kind of like Aliens, minus the aliens, minus the acting level, plus a shit ton of more darkness where you can't see shit. It looks like a cheap Aliens knockoff. A really bad one. Okay, yeah, here it is. This movie is a combination of Resident Evil, Aliens, and Doom 3. What you get in the mix is something that appeals to nobody. None of the fans of either of those things are gonna like this very much. I admit this movie is sort of a guilty pleasure for me. I try to see beyond its flaws and all that, and try to see the good things. There's a shit ton of bad things too, but I admit I kind of like this movie, even though deep down I feel like if only they would have done better. And guess what? Soon there's gonna be another Doom movie, but not a sequel. That's a good thing, because I don't know how this movie could continue anyway. See it for yourself, or you see what I mean. It's concluded. But they're gonna make another one. Of course, in this fucking 3D bullshit that is all the rage these days. Yeah, I don't like 3D. Deal with it. I don't care. I say it's bullshit. It's gimmicky bullshit that makes you charge more money for a movie. I say a good movie doesn't need 3D. I always enjoyed movies the way they were. I don't feel like wearing these stupid glasses, so sorry. And well, I assume there's gonna be a non-3D release of that movie, so I definitely gonna see that. Hoping it will be better. I just hope it's not gonna be made by Overball. Anyway, so there is hope in the future, even though it's not looking too good, but hey, I'm trying to be optimistic here. So, yeah, what is the verdict for Doom, the movie? It's a 5 out of 10. I can't rate it any higher. Those 5 points that are taken off solely for the fact that they ignored the source material. In some way, yet they respected it in another. It's like, yeah, half-assed is the exact description for this. Because they did it halfway right, halfway wrong. And what you get is a movie that somewhat appeals to you if you like Doom, and on the other hand completely pisses you off. So watch it for yourself. If you're a Doom fan, don't try to get your hopes up too much. You get some nice sequences and scenes, but don't expect too much if you haven't seen it yet. If you're just an average moviegoer, if you're into horror movies, give it a watch. You might actually like it more than the fans of his game did. It's either that, or you just hate it completely. This movie has received very mixed feedback. I'm just giving it a neutral 5 out of 10 rating, because I can't quite decide whether to make it any better or worse. So I think 5 out of 10. That's it. Okay, so that was my first video game-based review for a movie. And maybe there's gonna be more of these, but I can assure you one thing. They're gonna be better ones. And it's not gonna be Overball.